Welcome to Spider Project tutorial. Today's topic is about materials. As project cost includes cost of consumed materials, it is very important for a good integrated project plan to have materials tracking and management. And Spider Project has a number of features that support this process and enable effective management of materials. This is a project example for 1 kilometer of road construction. Phases, activities, and dependencies have been already set up. We also have set up the resource table with some key parameters. We've assigned our resources to activities. We can see the assignments are here. And we've calculated duration for the tasks where applicable, based on the volume of work and productivity of assigned resources. So now it's time to look at how we can work with materials. Materials could be accessed via the main menu view, Materials table, or if you set up a button on the quick access toolbar called Materials, you can go through that as well. So at the moment we don't have any materials set up yet, and I'm going to create one. You can just go right mouse click New Material or press Insert button. And if you double click on that line item, you get into the materials form. You can see there's a number of parameters that could be set up for the materials, and all of these parameters are visible in the columns of this table as well. We're not going to cover all of this today in detail, but the key ones I'd like to set up as a name and the code as well. And also, let's make sure that the units for the materials are reflected, so liters for fuel. I'd like to populate a few more materials. And to save our time, I'm just copy-pasting some of these values from the table I've prepared earlier. But you can see that the materials could be measured in different units like liters, cubic meters, tons, pieces, and others as well. Let's go back to the Activity Gantt View. There are two ways how you can assign a material to an activity in Spider Project. One way is to double-click on the activity line and get into the activity form, and then go into the materials area. And this is where you could add a material assignment to an activity from the materials table that we've just created. An alternative way of assigning a material would be via Activity Gantt table. To be able to do that, you need to bring into the view Materials columns. I'm just going to expand the table and go right-click Show Columns. And in the columns area, I'll go to the columns related to materials. And this is where all the materials are. I'm going to select all of the materials, holding the Shift button, and you can see that there's a number of parameters for the material, and we're not going to cover this area in detail today, but I'm going to assign materials based on the volume unit. So I'm selecting per volume unit box here. But there's other parameters as well. So show all the columns that I've just selected, and you can see that now these columns are visible in the Activity Gantt View. So now I can assign materials to my activities via these visible columns. And I'm just going to do it quickly based on the table again I've prepared earlier. and I'm just copy pasting the value. Some of the values are quite small, and to be able to see them, I'm going to the project properties, and this is where the decimal digits setting I would like to change to 2. So now all of my values are visible. And now when we've got the materials assigned to our activities, I can actually even see those material assignments in the Gantt view. You have probably noticed that at the moment we only have set up consumption of materials for the activities except one, fuel. The reason for that is that fuel is usually included in machinery cost and managed as a part of the machinery or resource consumption, and not as consumption by activities themselves. So for materials like fuel, we need to make sure that the resource table is set up to reflect this. Let's go into our resource table. In the resource table, let's bring into the view a column. Let's go right click to the table header, show columns. We're bringing the column related to materials. And I'm going to bring to the view a material column called fuel. I want that material to be consumed by certain resources, and I want to set up that consumption per hour. So this is why I've got this per hour box ticked in the expenditure type area. So now the column, the fuel per hour, the consumption of fuel, is visible in the resource table. I'm going to copy paste the values from the table I've prepared earlier. But you can see the concept here is that all the resources that consume fuel as a material, they need to have these values assigned in the resource table. Let's save our project. And go back to the Activity Gantt View. So how do we see how the materials are consumed on the timeline? There's a special feature in Spider Project called Material Gantt View. It could be accessed by the main menu View, Diagrams, Material Gantt. At the moment there's nothing on this view yet. But that's because we haven't calculated the schedule. So first of all, we need to calculate cost and material assignments. And this is how you do that. Calculate material assignments cost in Activity Gantt. So today we're only focusing on material consumption. We're not covering the cost element. But that's okay. We can hit the OK button. And after we did that, we need to calculate the schedule. And this is how the material consumption looks like on the timeline after you do that. You can expand that material line item, and then you would be able to see all of the activities that actually consume in that material. In other words, you can see the material assignment to these activities. Or if you like, you can use that field at the top left corner and expand that view for all of the activities within the project. This view is a very powerful view. I really like it. So you can see that Spider Project provides a great platform for material consumption, visibility and management, and enables useful views. There's much more on the material consumption from a cost perspective, and we'll try to cover this topic in our subsequent videos. Thank you very much for watching us today, and hopefully we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.